Hello, everybody. This is Jan Moray, and welcome to Greet the Week. And I have my co-host here, Mona Duncan. And today we are going to continue with the conversation that we started last week about, what do you do when you just don't know what to do? And so, Mona, I'm going to turn it back to you and let you take us on from here.
Okay. Well, I think what do you do when you don't know what to do? The thing of it is, and it's just kind of an excuse that we use, because we are getting some kind of guidance because our bodies are just set up to do that, to give us some kind of guidance, whether it's through our 5 needs that we have. And I was just thinking about those, that we have this need to survive. And our bodies let us know when a need is not being met, whether that's through frustration or whether it's through pleasantness or what. But it's letting us know. It's giving us that signal.
It is letting us know. We don't want to hear it sometimes, but our body definitely, sometimes it's screaming at us, right?
Right. We don't want to hear it. We even refuse to hear it. Mm-hmm. And then that love and belonging, that also, sometimes that's why that frustration is there of what to do or what not to do, is because of that pesky little fact that we need each other.
We do.
We need one another. We need those coworkers. We need our family. We need our children. We need all of this stuff, And then, of course, we have our power need, and it's that pesky little fact of of the need to accomplish something, of to do something, to be something, and even more.
I think that's something people don't really understand. That we do have such a need of accomplishment.
Right.
And because I talk to so many people who don't really have anything that they're doing for themselves to bring happiness in themselves or a sense of accomplishment. It's like they're just kind of passive in their life and they're just missing a lot.
Yeah. And then there's that other free need of freedom.
Freedom.
But I like to look at it as, this is our free will. And that's that pesky little thing that, oh, you mean I can say yes or I can say no? Oh, no, you mean I really do have a choice in this when I feel like I don't have? Right. And I don't know what to do? You mean deep down inside, maybe I really do know. I'm getting more guidance from my gut or from something and then that other need to have fun, to have fun. And so of all of those needs that we just talked about, that's to survive and to be empowered and to love and belong and, for freedom, to have our own free will and to have fun, which one of those is the easiest to do?
Which one is the easiest?
The easiest to fulfill, the easiest to do, the easiest to...
Oh, wow. I guess... I could think of a lot of different ways, but I mean, love and belonging, we can always find people who can be there for us, and that we can go see and spend time, call somebody up, or just walk down the street, find someone to talk to.
Well, what about how easy is it to have our own free will?
Well,
can we not have our own free will?
Well, sometimes we feel like we don't have our own free will.
Okay, goes back to those old pesky feelings, huh? And then what about fun? Is fun easy to do?
Fun is easy. Fun is pretty easy to do.
Yeah, well, it is for me, and it is for you. But
you don't want to have fun.
Or if it's supposed to be easy to have fun, then why am I so miserable?
Right. Yeah. They feel guilty if they're having fun, if they're enjoying themselves.
Right.
They feel like they need to be doing a lot of other things.
Right. So how are my priorities out of order? How of all this? So sometimes it's just reflection. And then as we talked about ownership, when I don't know what to do, I have to own the fact that I don't know what to do, so I need more information, or that I'm letting myself know that I think I don't know what to do when I really do know. If I will just listen to it, and heed it. So as I was in town this morning, and I had a lady come into my office, and she was talking about wanting to be healthier. And she said, "Oh, I'm trying so hard to cut down on my eating." And I go up to the front office, and Lois said something to me, or Jane said something to me, and just made me hungry. And she said, I even rebuked her for that. I said, "Don't talk about that food. You're making me hungry." And so,
it's all your fault.
Yeah. She came in and sat down, and she said, "What can I do about that? What can I do?" And so after I thought about it a little bit, I went into her office, and I said, "You made a comment in there that the fact that someone said something to you, that then you in turn became hungry, or was thinking about food." And I said, maybe whenever we are influenced, there's no doubt about that. We're always being influenced, as well as the fact that we are always influencing. We're being influenced, and we're also influencing others. And that whenever we think that influence made me do something, then we have become Pavlov's dog. And whatever that trigger was has either taken us to the, to eat, or to want this, or to want that, or it's taken us somewhere. That initial input has taken us there. And so it is what to do when you don't know what to do. It is usually because it's a reoccurring incident. It's a reoccurring incident. It's going to happen again. That what I've tried before hasn't worked, and I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do differently. I don't know what this. And so it is being aware of the fact that when we are not aware of receiving some kind of guidance, of saying, "No, you did that before, let's make a little shift to it," then we have a tendency to go back into our habit mind.
Yeah.
Just doing what we've done before, because that's the go-to place. That's the default printer. That's the default action.
Yeah.
And as we can consciously think about that default action, and how can I, it may still be there, that printer is still hooked up, but I can install another one.
Yeah. Well, and I think too, it's changing your mindset, because losing weight is such a big one. A lot of people suffer with, because you really want that food, and your mind is like, you're thinking, "Oh, that stuff smells so good. Oh, that is going to taste so good." And so you're thinking about what you're missing, instead of thinking about, what am I going to gain by not eating it?
Right.
Eating healthy instead of eating all this junk food that I'm going to feel guilty about later on.
Right. And whenever you said that about gaining, it's gaining or losing. It's not only in a weight situation, but what am I going to gain in that relationship? What am I going to gain in my influence in work? What am I going to gain in my healthy relationship with my child? What am I going to gain?
And to focus on that, on what you're going to gain, how you're going to benefit from doing it, instead of thinking about all the things that you're missing out on.
Right.
Because really, in the long run, those things that you're missing out on may not be that important.
And so our free will, we may think, well, okay, what do you mean I can choose what I think? No, I don't know. I mean, I do have a free will that I can choose. I can wear this shirt, or I can wear that shirt, but I don't have I can't choose my feelings. I can't choose how somebody will respond to me. I can't choose, all this kind of stuff. But yet, as we do change that one little itty bitty thing that we do have control over, I cannot control anyone else. That is all of those stressors in life. And whenever we just live in that stress, that chronic stress, then it's going to be quicker to just type, to just go ahead and hit that print button to that old printer, rather than going to the new, more clear laser printer. As whenever we think, we have no control, that we can't predict the outcome, that there's no outlet, that there's no support, But if in those four elements there could be, if we could somehow manipulate something, what would we want to manipulate? And so, control. So what about ourselves can we control?
What can we control? Yeah.
And what can we?
There's a lot of things you can control when you think about it. I mean, so many times you think that you can't, you have no control because the thing you really want to change isn't going to change because you can't control other people. But the truth is that there's a lot you can do for yourself that does change how people respond towards you.
Exactly.
And to help to give you that feeling where you have some power in it.
And so initially it seems like that's so nothing to just change my mind. You know, to just change my mind that this person is acting like a royal jerk, but they're really not a jerk. You know, just that little bitty shift, and how that really can bring in. I wrote down here for us to look at and discuss that what to do when you don't know what to do. It was on a greeting card, and I was so impressed by it. I don't know if I bought it to send it or received it, but it was long years ago, and I wrote down what it said, and don't even know what, didn't have a name on there as to who said it. But it says, to love another requires much of us. And then it gives some qualifiers that it requires of us. It requires growing less selfish.
Mm-hmm.
It requires seeing a wider scope than our own private preserve. It requires it requires celebrating another's life beside ourselves, other than our own. It means welcoming diversity.
Yeah.
Different opinions, different insights, different points of view, it requires being open to change. It's a lot of requirements.
It is a lot of requirements, and it's difficult. Sometimes it's difficult to do all that.
Yeah, but
and
that
it's
just
holding us back.
Huh?
And what holds us back from?
Right. What holds us back? What holds us back? Yeah. It requires growing less selfish. Ooh. Okay, I think that's one thing that's holding me back. It requires a scope wider than our own personal preserve. It's realizing that what is being voiced is an opinion. It is information. It is, I may not be agreeing with it, but how can I allow that? How can I allow that to be in this space and be okay with it without letting it like invade who I am or touch that spot that's bringing on that negative response?
Right, right.
So how can I allow it? I mean, I can't not allow it. I can't not allow it. I can't not allow the other person saying, doing, whatever.
Not saying and doing what they're doing, right? But you can not allow it to affect your life and create angry. Well, you can create the angry thoughts inside of you, the angry feelings, but you don't have to act out on them.
Right. And so, if what they are doing, saying, whatever is it's hitting it's bringing that sore spot, that tender spot there. But because I cannot control anyone else, how they, and how can I let them have their diatribe, their whatever, their opinion, without letting it invade my space. And it's just kind of setting it. It's by detaching.
Right, detaching. That's a good word. That's a good word, because a lot of parents have a real problem with that whole detachment, because what their children do, it becomes part of them.
Right.
And it's that's a big one, to be able to detach yourself from it, to acknowledge that you don't like it and it bothers you, but that doesn't mean that it's you who's doing it. They're a different person, and they are separate from you, and it doesn't make you look bad,
Right.
because they're not doing what you would do in that situation. And I mean,
Yeah.
with parents and children, that's the strongest attachment. We get attached to other people and other things as well. And that's where we're feeling that, like, if they're going to do what they want to do and not what we want to do, then we're going to look bad, or like we don't have any control or whatever. And that keeps us to try harder, and that's only making things worse, instead of stepping back and saying, okay, I don't like it, but I accept you for what you're doing, and you have to find your own road.
Right, right. And it's also realizing that although, where is this coming from?
Right. Yeah.
Where's it coming from?
Yeah.
What's it hurting deep down in me? What have I stored? What have I kept that has been an irritant? And now this is just a reflection of that original irritant. But because I can't go back and do anything about that, I'm going to do about something about right here, right now. And so it's detach.
Yeah.
So then that we can, kind of own the fact that I am disgruntled. Sometimes maybe we can't even put a word to it. I don't know what I am, but whatever it is, it's something that it's not real pleasant.
Right.
It's something that I don't want to hold on to. It's something that is me, but I don't want it to be me. And I want to get it out, but I don't want to spew it on you. It's releasing it in a way that is helpful. The thing of it is that we often don't trust our own guidance. That we think it wouldn't work. Well, what if yeah. Well, what if you didn't yeah back? Oh, well, that wouldn't do any good. But what if it did do some good?
What if it did?
What if it did do some good to just, bite your tongue?
Yeah. Yes, and sometimes you keep going back to the same routine, doing what we've always done, and it's hard to step back and try something different, because we really believe that that's the right way to do it. But if it hasn't worked up to now, then maybe it's time to step back and let them do it their way, and say, okay, I'm going to step out of your way. You think the way it has to be done? All right, I'm here. I don't agree with it, but let's see what happens. And you may be surprised.
Exactly. Or, and it's also realizing that it's just a little bit that that we need to give the freeway, give the liberty to. It's not major. Sometimes we think for something to change, it has to go from being this to being that. Like there's this wide expanse, but it's just a little step. It's just a little. Sometimes it's just a pause, even.
Yeah.
So that in that pause, we can let the emotions calm down, so that thinking and reasonable responding can take over.
Yeah, I think we're always looking for the big change,
right?
And that we're going to make this big difference, but it just doesn't. It's rare that it happens that way. It's to start to acknowledge the little changes, the little improvements that are going on, to appreciate those and to recognize that, yes, we are making some progress, not as fast as I'd like it to, but let me at least give it credit that we are making some changes. Because there's nothing wrong with the little bitty changes, and that's a lot easier. It's safer to do the little bitty changes.
Baby steps.
Baby steps, absolutely.
Yeah.
Baby steps.
Yeah. And looking at words, it's going for wholeness. To be whole. That if I detach from this, how is that going to help in the healing of my wounds, in the healing of my frustration, in the healing of my chronic? It It is that proverb of loving yourself, as you love your neighbor.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we need to start, and not that super. I'm not talking selfish. I'm talking about that self-efficacy, taking care of self, so that we can take care of others, and releasing that chronic stress. And so wholeness, what does it incorporate? What are some other words that go along with wholeness? It's entire, complete, it's total, it's unabridged, it's the whole thing. It's the unabridged, meaning the light, and it's also the shadow part. And that sometimes we have allowed it to become out of bounds when, in trying to set a boundary, we allow that boundary setting to become out of bounds. That goes with our shadow side.
Yeah.
That as we begin to look at that, to be whole, to be complete, to be entire, it's to accept both.
We have to accept that shadow part. It's there.
We have to accept it. We have to accept it.
Yeah, pretending like it's not there is not good for us.
Right.
It can cause us some trouble down the road.
So if we want to be whole, holy, complete, and then that, brings up another word, that holy, as in, divine and sacred and blessed and consecrated. And the thing of it is we're that too. Mm-hmm. And it's realizing that as I am special, I'm just not that special. But in recognizing that, and we can get in touch with our greatness as a human being on planet Earth, but not being, that we all belong. Goes back to that pesky love and belonging. Mm-hmm. And we need each other. We need others.
We do. Yeah.
And I heard a little story one time about this person that, heard the let go and let God, let go and let God, let go and let God. And, and was wanting to do that so much. Well, how do I let go? How do I detach? How do I not let these things bother me, and all this kind of stuff? And in this person's diligence to just really, have that solidified within them, they cut out signs, cut out the letters, let go, let God, let go, let God, let go, let God. And so had it posted so that as soon as they walked in the door, they'd see those, really. And so they walked in the door one day, and it had been a really difficult day, and walked in the door, and, and there on the sign it said, let go and let go.
Oh.
Let go and what? Let go and let go. And the D had unstuck and had fallen off. Let go and let go. Let go and let go. Sometimes even when we bring another source in, when we bring God, we're wanting it defined. Mm-hmm. If I'm going to let you do this, Jan, if I'm going to let you do this, I want to know the recipe you're going to use to do it.
Right. Yeah.
And sometimes it's letting go and letting go.
Yeah.
I've given my child this instruction. I've given them that instruction. I've given my coworkers this instruction. And sometimes we just have to let go and let go. Now, there always has to be an accountability. There's no doubt about
that. Absolutely.
And so sometimes it's hard to trust ourselves, because if I let go, where will I go?
That's scary. That can be scary.
And sometimes we don't trust others, because if I let go, where will they go?
Will anybody be there for me?
Yeah. And the same thing, if there's this mystical, if I let go and let God, well, I better not, because where would that take me? Mm-hmm. Because we want to be so in control of our lives, and yet we're out of control of them. And the more we try to control all of those things outside of us, it just shows how out of control we are internally. Yeah. Because those things do influence us. There is no doubt about that. But they control us only as we give them permission to.
Right.
Only as we give them permission to.
And sometimes it's hard to stop that. But you just got to stop and think, okay, what is this doing for me? What is happening to me if I continue to allow this to bother me? If I allow this to eat up on me inside, it's not getting me anywhere.
Yeah. Well, anytime there is conflict, there's always two energies that show up. It's the give up or the overtake. And as we can kind of, lessen it from going from one extreme to the other, it's in the persevering and being empowered too, rather than just we judge by our current knowledge, our values, and our perceptions. And so it's as I perceive what it is, that it is what it is, without realizing that there's other influencing factors there in everyone's life and situation. Then we have the point, am I going to accept what it is, or am I going to fight against it? And in the accepting what it is it going to help me to grow? And how can it help me to grow? Or if I accept what it is it going to diminish me?
Or am I going to allow it to diminish me?
Or am I going to allow it? Because can it really?
Right.
Can it really?
Because there's, I'm thinking about all the negativity in the media these days.
Right.
And how people are saying this needs to happen. This needs to happen. We need to do this. We need to do this. And it's like, well, there's some things you just have to accept that that's the way it is. Yes, you should stand up for what you believe in and fight for what you believe in, but you have to fight every single battle. And what is it doing to you to have all that negativity, all that negative energy surrounding you, and that you're just feeding it. You continue to feed it to yourself. Maybe there's a point where you have to go, okay, I'm going to accept that this is happening, and I'll let somebody else fight that battle. And I'm not going to allow that to affect me. And let me find someplace else where I can make a difference and I can do something to put my positive energies towards, instead of continuing to sit in all that negativity and letting all that energy just drain me.
And as we accept that fact, that it is what it is, I can do what I can do, but as we make it okay for them to have their opinion or for whatever, okay? As we make it okay, it diminishes our suffering.
Yes, it does. Absolutely.
It diminishes our pain.
Yeah.
It diminishes because we're letting go. We're letting go.
Letting go.
And we're just letting go.
Yeah.
And realizing, and it's starting to be aware of the fact is this always a default position? And who does that thought belong to? Who does that thought belong to? I like to do a little yoga exercise where you kind of stir up all the emotions, and you do it through starting with the base chakra, and going all the way up, and we're kind of building emotions and trying to fix everything. And then after you have all that, and you can just we can even just think about anything that's irritating, and then once that because our thoughts can calm us down or it can rile us up, no matter where we are, no matter what. Yeah. But anyway, and so then you just take it and you kind of put your hands together, up here, because you've riled up all of these emotions, and you let them collect. Okay, so they're riled up. We've got them frustrated here, and you let them collect, right up here in this little point. Okay. And the thing of it is all of those things that we're dissing about, they may have a point to it, but anyway, it's coming here to the point, and I let it collect. And as I begin to feel it, beginning to calm down because it's collected, then I just fling it out into the universe and say, return to sender. Return to sender, return to sender. You know? Am I getting frustrated with you because I'm remembering back to the time that I don't really even remember, but whenever my brother took my red crayon.
But I do remember how angry I felt.
Yeah, I can remember that feeling.
Stayed with me, and I can't remember what happened or what the details.
Right. But how am I bringing that into today? Because you are being that person, even though it's you, whoever you is, or whatever the news media or whatever it is, you're bringing up that it's this way. No, it's this way. No, it's this way. No, it's this way. And so it's just return it to sender. Return it to sender. You know, good, bad, indifferent. Just let it go. And I don't have to say the end result.
And just to be aware of what you're doing, you know, what all that negativity is doing to you, and do you want that? Is that what you really want? And so yeah, if you don't, send it back.
Right.
You deal with this. I don't need to deal. I've got enough other stuff to deal with. You take that one.
Yeah. So it's detaching. It's letting it go. It is looking at the situation and having a little compassion.
Mm-hmm.
Compassion on you, but also compassion on that other person that I'm not seeing it that way. And maybe, maybe we think that we need to have compassion for them because they see things so askew. But just, maybe we need to learn.
That's okay. It's okay to think that way, to think, well, this guy's really lost. He really doesn't know what's going on. But I'm not gonna change his mind. So I just accept. We were talking about accept earlier. I'm gonna accept that's what he believes, and that's the way it is. You go for it, but don't pull me into that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna separate myself from.
Yeah, I'm going to detach. I'm not going to allow you to pull me into it.
Right.
Yeah, I mean it's there. That tug is there. Because if I didn't have this come back emotion, it wouldn't be there.
Yeah.
Just being aware of the fact that it's there, and
that emotion's telling you something. It's like, oh, whoa, where did all that anger come from? How come this is affecting me so much?
Yeah. Okay, well, I have 134.
Okay, all right. Well, thanks. That was a interesting journey today, talking about detachment and acceptance, and
and so getting along with others requires much of us.
It does.
It requires growing less selfish. It's not always, I don't always have the right way to go. It is seeing a wider scope outside of our own preserve. It is celebrating life in others other than my own, opinions other than my own. It is becoming more diverse, welcoming diversity, welcoming those, because sometimes we need to have some really odd thoughts for growth.
We do, yeah.
And it is requiring being open to change. Not only the change in the world, but the change in us, and how those little bitty steps can make
baby steps.
Maximum change.
Thanks a lot, Mona. And thanks to all our listeners. We appreciate you. And we'll be back next Monday for another episode of Greet the Week. Thank you.
So long. Have a good one.